I lost my grandma and then my father-in-law within 6 weeks. Why do people think we shouldn't invest in ourselves to learn how to do property? But then there was them negative comments as well that I did find quite difficult to deal with, and it got worse towards the end as well. The further I got on, the more I put myself out there, the worse the comments got.
Qualified occupational therapist turned property investor and winner of Stephen Green's The One competition. I'm James Poynton, and this is The Secrets of a Property Investor. So if you're ready, I've got some explaining to do. This is Kath Lock. Kath, as you are the one, do I call you Neo?
I got that a lot, you know.
Do you?
Yeah, I did get
so
that
original.
A few times. And there was the other one that I got. I used to get a lot of like songs and that sang to me. No, you are the one and only.
I have to admit, I have been walking around the house all week knowing we're going to do this podcast, right? With Chesney Hawkes going through my head. I am the one and only.
Yeah.
Constantly. What was your perception on life before you won the One competition?
I think I've always had kind of ambition and drive to like fulfill my goals and fulfill my dreams, but they've just changed. So prior to winning the One competition, I was kind of happy I was an occupational therapist in mental health services for 15 years. I worked hard to get there. So I had to do my GCSEs 3 times to be able to get into university. So I did it at school, and then in first year college and second year college, I wasn't the most naturally gifted person, but I always worked hard and I always had that persistence to reach my goals. So I did that. I went to university, and then I became an occupational therapist, and then became a specialist occupational therapist in forensic mental health services, specialising working with people with challenging behaviour. I worked in one of the first occupational therapists definitely within my trust, to work in environments like seclusion and segregation, and then kind of presented across kind of the College of Occupational Therapy across like the UK on the work that I've done in there. And I always challenged myself, so I always put myself up for a challenge. But then became interested in property and wanted to change my career completely. I had a lot of self-doubts. I felt like I wanted to do property for a long time before I took the action to actually go and do the training. I did the 3-day training in October 2020, and then the competition started in January 2021. I did have a lot of self-doubt at the beginning of the competition. I know that there was 5,000 people that applied across the country. So I had thought, I had a little chance of kind of getting through that first round. And when I did get through the first round, then that self-belief started to come. And then when I got into the top 12, I started to really believe that I can do this, I can win this. And so I think I've always had belief in myself. Maybe it's not belief, maybe it's that hard work and persistence and ambition, but maybe it's lacked a little bit of the self-belief, but went for it anyway. So yeah.
A couple of things come up there. So would you say the NHS changed and so did you, and you both of you grew apart?
Yeah. I don't know if it changed or I just maybe seen, because I know it is a business, and don't get me wrong, it helps a lot of people. maybe if I didn't have my interest in property that came up, there was a lot of things that went on at work as well, like kind of restructuring and people leaving, and I think my sights kind of changed, my goals changed, my ambitions changed as well, and maybe at the same time seeing things in a different light or seeing things that were happening that didn't kind of align with me.
So how did you find initially the right training program to go on, to get the right education?
I mean, I was Googling and kind of looking into different property trainers and things like that. And then Stephen Green's from Redcar, which I'm from Teesside and from Middlesbrough. So he was local to me and just probably who I could relate to the most, maybe being from the area and his approach. And so, yes, that's why I decided to go with Stephen's training.
So you did your 3-day training with Steve at the PIA in October 2020, and then he announced the competition, which is The One, in January 2021. Can you tell people about that competition? I know you've gone through this probably many a time before, but just for our listeners, in case they don't know, tell us what it meant, what's involved, and how it all was structured.
So it was... First of all, it was a written application, and I believe he got around 5,000 applications. From that application, he selected 100. From the 100, it went to 12. Now, I got placed in the 12 through a wild card that he did. So he did a live video on Facebook, and you had to kind of do live yourself, go out there, get people to comment your name in his live video. So it was the person who got the most... the name wrote the most times on his live, who got an automatic place in the top 12.
Right. Okay.
So I got that first place. He then done another wild card, which was taking pictures of his book, and then so you'd kind of pass it on, do within a chain, do different pictures in different places with his book. So that was another wildcard place. And then the other 10, they did it through getting people over to his kind of pages, YouTube, getting, people are following like his pages.
So would you just share his posts and things like that? I'll share his YouTube videos on your Facebook.
Yeah, and then kind of, I mean, I didn't do that. I did part of that stage until I got the wild card, but just getting everybody that you know to follow these links to like all of his pages and channels. Yeah.
And did you tell people as well, I need your likes to help me win?
Yeah, I did like very creative things, like trying to, and people got things out of that as well. So you got an online training course with Stephen. So we could offer that. So I kind of put it in, property groups and things. Would you like this training if you follow these links? And then got like all my family and friends and done posts on Facebook and offered things for people. So I did like competitions. If you like these, if you go follow these links, you'll be entered into a competition. So I give away a cross trainer. I also got some of my friends who've got local businesses like beauty to give away, like kind of nails and lashes and things like that for people. So it was like an incentive for people to kind of help me, and then one of them would become the winner and get these prizes and things.
Yes, you got really creative then. It begs the question, when you initially wrote a letter of application, what do you think was in it? What was in your letter that he went, yes? Because he only chose 100, didn't he, out of 5,000 applicants?
Yeah. I think what stood out on mine, I don't know if you've seen the final, but in the final, I took my letter of resignation and said if I was chosen to be the one, I would hand in my resignation.
Well, that's like, that's an action taker right there, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's like, I'm determined I'm going to do this. So he must love that.
So that was from day one. On my written application, you put a picture, and my picture was me holding that letter. And I said, and that was on day one in my written application, I said, I will quit my job if I'm chosen to be the one. And that was from day one. So I think a lot of people think that I got to the final and decided that was always there. That was always my plan. So I think that probably stood out from my written application.
So you got down to the final 12.
Yeah.
Take us through that.
So then we got put into teams and we were given like challenges within the team. So we had to raise investment. We had to get a celebrity. Then there was votes. So there was a lot of things to do, you know, at that point. But you were then working within a team.
A celebrity? What celebrity?
So it was for the judging panel for the final. And we actually were, I think we were the only team that got a celebrity, but something happened, I'm not sure. So we got in touch with Chloe Ferry, but she then was unavailable at the time of the final. So she wasn't one of the celebrity judges, but she was our celebrity for that round.
Okay.
We did 100k walk over 24 hours. So we walked for 24 hours, raised money for the NHS. Then also while we were doing that, raising awareness for asking people to vote for us at the same time. So that was like kind of wanting to do something for the NHS. It was kind of COVID and everything as well. So it was our NHS heroes that we raised money for. And then got the vote. So we won that round. And then from there, we got, so the team, one team was out at that point. So there's like 4 people eliminated from the competition. Right. And then we got put into teams of 3 after that. And we were given £1,000 and we were asked to come back with the most money. So the team.
So you had to go and make money with £1,000.
Yeah.
And so what did you do?
So I don't know all sorts, but we done like the TikTok crazes, you know, the octopuses, the happy and sad octopuses, and the poppets. We bought them in bulk and we sold them. Went to car boot sales, so selling them. We sold sweet corns. We sold sanitizer sprays because it was COVID, so we got the sanitizer sprays and we were selling them. Everyone was sitting outside in pubs. So I went and bought bulk blankets and I was like going around the pubs, does anyone want to buy a blanket? But we won that round as well. So it was worth it. It was hard work, but it was worth it.
How much money did you make?
We made just over 3,000.
Out of £1,000? Wow.
Yeah.
That's really good going. So who was the closest to you then? Who made the most next down from you?
There was only 3 teams in it at that point. So there was 9. So there was our team went through and Team A went through, and then I think it was Team B. We were Team C in that round. So one team was eliminated, yeah.
So you're now down to the final 6 because it's 2 teams of 3, is that right?
Yeah, and then it was public vote.
Ooh, and the public can be savage.
Yes.
So go on, what happened? Well, we know what happened because you won, but take us through the process.
How I won that round. So this was the 6 to 4. No, it was to 3. So there was 3 people eliminated in this round. So this was the vote.
By the public?
By the public. Again, it was COVID. And I remember putting in my post, the people of Teesside love a bargain. And the Primark queue was absolutely massive. And people were just stood there and couldn't get away from me. So I headed down to Primark in Middlesbrough, day after day, and just hounded people in the queue. While you're here, can you go onto this link and vote for me? So I just worked the Primark queue. Also went to Red Car Boot. There was the queue waiting to get in the Red Car Boot. Well, not just myself. I had teams, so I had a lot of support, friends and family out supporting me in different areas, going to the pubs, going to the Primark queue, Red Car, Car Boot, just around the town, you know, and then putting posts on Facebook, lives on Facebook. A lot of hard work. It wasn't just, you know, hope for the best and let the public vote, public decide. It was going out there, talking to people, telling them about what I was doing, and then asking them to vote for me.
Gosh, that's really creative of you, though. I'd have never thought of that. You know, going up to people in queues out of Primark Primark.
Where they can't walk away from you.
Exactly. It's like they're queuing up and they're like, while you're here, just go on Facebook and vote for me. That'd be great. Thanks.
Yeah.
And they're like, excuse me, who are you? Did you ever get that?
Yeah, but I mean, I got people just saying no. just didn't want to know, didn't want to hear about it, no.
Yeah.
And I got some negativity as well. Even on my Facebook posts, I got a lot of overwhelming support from my family, my friends, people in the area. Like, I got so much support. But then there was them negative comments as well that I did find quite difficult to deal with.
Go on, tell us about that.
Definitely at first, I think I probably always worried about what other people thought of me. So this competition and the negative comments that I got actually helped me to overcome that and build a thick skin and kind of not be worried anymore about what other people's opinions of me are. Because I think in the past, I probably did let it stop me doing things because I'd be worried about the opinions of other people. So I wouldn't put myself out there or I wouldn't do certain things. And then in the competition, obviously, it was something that I really wanted. As I got through the stages, I got more self-belief. I knew that I was capable of doing it or in with a chance of winning it. Well, I fully believed I was going to win it from probably going into the top 12. But having them negative comments, I found that quite difficult. So some of them were negative comments about Stephen and about the competition, you know, it's a scam. And then other comments were really personal about me and just people, keyboard warriors not being very nice. And it got worse towards the end as well. The further I got on, the more I put myself out there, the worse the comments got. But as Stephen says, with negatives, there's always a positive and a negative. And you put yourself out there and you are going to always get somebody who's got an opinion, a negative opinion. And I think that really helped me because it made me realise that it doesn't matter what other people think. So it made me stronger as a person and less worried about what other people think. So it was actually a positive in a negative in the end for me. So yeah, I got that and still do get that now. I put a paid ad out on Facebook just the other week and got some like negative comments, but I just let that go now. I don't worry about it, don't spend time worrying about it, don't let it stop me doing anything anymore. So it was worth it getting them negative comments.
Oh, you're still here. That's great. Clicking the follow or subscribe button helps more than you know. And for those of you that have already done it, I'd like to say a big thank you from the heart of my bottom. Now, back to the show.
Kath, do you mind telling us about the negative comments that were made personally towards you?
Yeah, I got called nasty witch. I got doing a live and people were telling me I had bags under my eyes and like really some personal things.
Wow.
What am I coming on doing this live for? And like got called names. And do you know what? At the end, the competition, the final, when it was myself and Gordon. So going back to, we went to 9-3 and then we done the judging panel where we done our pitch to the celebrity panel. But before that, there was a public vote between the three of us, so myself, Gordon and Dan. And that public vote was to one person was eliminated. So when Dan was eliminated at that point, Gordon won that vote, that public vote.
Yeah.
And I think the public, if you hadn't watched the final episode on YouTube, the public were under the impression that that was to select the winner. Then we did our pitch to the celebrity judging panel and each of them selected who they thought should be the winner. But then the overall decision was down to Stephen. When I was selected by the judging panel and then Stephen, because the public thought Gordon had won because of the vote, I got a lot of like negativity and personal attacks and some really negative comments.
How did you overcome those attacks, personal attacks, though?
Do you know, some of them I didn't even read, and it was a shame because I was missing out on the really positive ones. And I went back later and did read through some of the comments. But on the night, I was just so happy that I'd won. I thought I don't want to be reading anything negative. So my husband was reading them and he was saying, oh, Kath, they're saying this. And I said, I'm not bothered. Like, I've just won the competition. Like, I'm not bothered, and I'm not going to read it because I don't want that negativity in my life today, or any day really. But then I missed some of the really positive ones because there was both. But myself and Gordon talk, and there was nothing, no negativity between the two of us. We were sat kind of, while our supporters were arguing on Facebook, we were sat enjoying the night. It was a really lovely night, the final, and since have spoke and do see each other, obviously, both in the Property Investment Academy. And Gordon and Dan got a company with Stephen as well. So that was really lovely. It was nice because they'd worked so hard. So I got the one-to-one mentorship and all the training and a company with Stephen. But Dan and Gordon also set up a company as well. So I thought that was really lovely.
That's really good. These negative comments, were they from people that you knew?
No, I didn't.
Someone described it to me once with negative comments, because I get them. Like you, bold enough to put myself out there doing this. You can choose to read them or not. So it's a choice. It's like, someone described it to me, it's like, when you walk past a big stone, you've got the choice whether picking that up or not. And they just put it into that metaphor and went, well, just don't pick it up. Don't just keep walking, keep going. But all the comments as well, whether they're positive or negative on Facebook, just helps the algorithms. It just shows it to more and more people. It's like, so you end up going to thank them and say, thanks for your comment. Appreciate it, because you've just helped me, my post go further and further and further. So, but that's how it works. Some of the people don't realise that that's how it works. And
actually doing you a favour,
They're doing me a favour. Thanks. So from when he launched the competition to the final was 5 months.
Yeah.
5
months hard work.
5 months of hard work. And you deserve it. And not saying Gordon or Dan didn't either. So you're on stage, and who's there? You and Gordon. Is that right?
Yeah. So there was the three of us, myself, Dan and Gordon.
Right.
At the beginning, we all done our pitch to the celebrity judges because we were doing that as the public vote was happening. And then me and Gordon found out we'd gone through to the final, where the judges would give their opinion on who should be the winner, and then Stephen would pick the winner at the end. So there was the three of us, and then the two of us. Yeah.
And what do you think helped get you to where you were at that point?
Through the competition.
Yeah. So you lots of hard work, lots of putting yourself out there, getting yourself out of your comfort zone. But we had a chat the other day, didn't we? And
like the self-belief and the law of attraction.
Law of attraction and manifestation.
Yeah.
Tell me what you did.
It just became part of my morning routine, like that visualization, really living that final, living that being announced as the winner, what it would look like, the feelings and emotions, linking everything to it, the full visualization of being the winner. And I truly believed I was going to win. There was no other option in my mind. It was just, I am going to win this. This is what it's going to be. This is how it's going to take me there. Used that every morning. I don't know if you've seen, I did a video. I think it was kind of part of it. I put it out on Facebook where I kind of cut Stephen Green saying about the competition and who's the winner going to be, and then I put like Kath Lock at the end and me like kind of jumping around and screaming, and that was like all part of like the visualizing it and ensuring that that belief was there and asking and receiving. Really
brilliant. So do you use the law of attraction every day?
I don't visualize every day like I did in the competition. I do use it. Use the visualization, positive affirmations. I've even got my children and my nieces and stuff using it now. So my son watched The Secret with me and absolutely loved it. And he uses like visualization and stuff now. And then I must talk about it that much because my 5-year-old niece came running out of school to me a few weeks ago, and she said, "It worked, Auntie Kath. It worked. That visualization." She said she'd visualised that she was going to be star of the week and visualised it every day, and we kind of went through it with her. and she got Star of the Week, so she's doing it now. Full family are on board with it. But yeah, I truly believe in it. I think that's what the difference. Well, I don't know if anybody else used it in the competition, but I think that's what helped me and what made me win the competition, because I did that every day.
Did you have any insecurities during that time leading up to the final?
No, I don't think so. I think I was so focused on what I was doing, I didn't have time to think about anything else really. That obviously running up to the final, I put holidays in at work because everything was about the final, and just doing everything I could to keep focused on them tasks that we'd been set. So I didn't have time to really think about any insecurities or any doubts at that point. I have in the past, but I think running up to the final, I was just too busy and too focused on what I was doing.
When was the moment you connected with the universe or became self-aware of this spiritual awakening as such?
I don't know, because I think I've had an interest in it for a long time, but I think use it probably in the competition, because it was the first time that I've really, really, really wanted something and really used it to its full potential, because it was kind of part of my routine every day, whereas previously I had an interest in it and maybe read about it and used it a little bit, but I think it was the competition really where it was kind of became part of me and part of my routine. And yeah, I'd say from going into like kind of the top 12 really, and being put in the groups. I mean, even doing that, the 24-hour walk, when it got challenging, doing like positive affirmations and telling yourself that you can do this, and that helped me get through that. Even previously I would have had all this self-doubt and this talk of it's too hard, you can't do it, you're not good enough to do it, like that really negative self-talk. And then that I just changed that and started to do the positive self-talk, and that really helped in lots of situations.
What part of the training that you've received of this one-on-one mentorship do you think is the most valuable to you?
I mean, everything is valuable. I'd done the 3-day training when I came into the competition. As soon as I did the 3-day in October 2020, I purchased my first single buy-to-let in December 2020. So that I was just completing that when I went into the competition. But then the training that I've received, so since winning the competition, I've done the elite training, which is like the 7-day training. I've done the business mentorship with Gemma, which is 12-month mentorship. I've done HMO training, construction training, marketing training, like the Facebook marketing training. And then I've done now in the mastermind. Everything has just helped me develop both as a person and in my property training. Obviously, what I have got over and above that is the mentorship with Stephen, having the Zoom calls with him. But also, how do I say it? I went through a difficult time at the end of last year. I lost my grandma and then my father-in-law within 6 weeks of each other. I lost my grandma at the end of October, and then I think because my father-in-law was poorly, and then he passed away, and then it kind of hit me, double.
I'm sorry for your loss.
Thank you. Just awful time, but thank you for saying that. Obviously, and my husband, obviously being his father, and my children. I was supposed to go to Dubai with Stephen and his team as part of winning the competition, and I couldn't go to that.
Why?
Kind of just myself in my grief, really, and then obviously supporting my family as well. And I still think that was the right decision. I stood up on stage and said everything that I'm doing is for my family. And at that time, it was the emotional support that my husband and my kids needed. And I wasn't in a very good place either. I'd lost all my kind of drive and motivation. I'd lost my routine. I wasn't journaling. I wasn't going to the gym. I wasn't doing anything really towards my goals. And when Stephen came back from Dubai, he sent me a message, and very understanding of what I was going through, but kind of made me realise that I need to get myself back into doing what I need to be doing to make a success of the business.
So what did he do?
It was just, so my mum and, other people in my life had said to me, you need to you can't sit and just be consumed by your grief. You need to get out and get back on track with the business and your property. But when Stephen said it, I think I related to it more because, I know he's talked about like his losing his mum and things like that. And he's still been able to kind of build this successful business. And you make a choice, don't you? And it is your choice whether you allow it to consume you and throw you off kind of track and you don't make any more progress, or you still grieve, but you get up every day and you do what you need to do.
Because that can be the start of the end, can't it? That can be the point where you're starting to give up.
Yeah, and can spiral, can't it? When I got back to doing like the journaling things, I started to feel better anyway, because I was probably because I was doing things and diverting my attention, and like kind of things started to get better. I think having that message from him, or a couple of messages, discussion that we had, really helped me.
Knowing Steve the way we do you think it was a verbal ass kicking?
Yeah, definitely.
In the nicest
way. Yeah, definitely. And it's exactly what I needed.
Yeah, and exactly when you needed it. So he left you alone to do your grieving, and then when the time was right, he then messaged you. And so he's obviously thought about it. You've had your time. No, let's get on with this. Because life don't stop. We've got a mission. We've got goals. Let's go.
Yeah, exactly. We make our choices in life that ultimately decide what we're going to do, what we're going to achieve, what we're going to do. And that's what I needed to do. I needed to make them choices to get back to what I should have been doing that I wasn't doing.
So what did you do? What did you get back on? What, Journaling? Some more law of attraction? Start looking for properties?
Yeah, everything. So then after that was when I made an offer and purchased the HMO that I'm doing now. So that was, I literally wasn't even looking for anything before that, really. Found that pretty quickly, purchased that. We're in the middle of
this HMO
on that.
This is an HMO, is it?
It is, yeah. So it's 6 bedrooms, en suites. Aimed at hopefully for students. It was 3 flats, but we've decided to. Well, it was a house that somebody had arranged as 3 flats, but we decided to rip all that out and make it into a 6-bed house of multiple occupancy.
And who is we?
Myself and Eduardo. So I met Eduardo in the competition. He was my team member in one of the rounds, and then we did Elite together, and then we set up our company together, and then obviously we've just purchased our first one together, as what I've just talked about.
Congratulations. So you've got a buy-to-let, because I think you did that, you said, by yourself?
Yeah.
And then you've got the HMO with Eduardo, and then you've got another business. So that's 3 businesses, is that right? Because your third business is with Stephen Green.
Yes, yeah.
And how's that going?
So we're in the stages of we're raising investment. It's more than investment, really. It's we're looking for people to become shareholders in the company. So purchasing shares, then obviously they own the company with us, own the assets within it. So it's a longer term investment with a minimum of 7 years, so that we can build some assets within the company. So we'll be looking for investment, purchasing the first asset, using all the creative strategies and obviously Stephen's experience to uplift the value, and then remortgaging to take that, that money out, and then purchasing another asset. So over time, over the 7 years, we can really build some assets within the company and really gain a higher interest rate for our investors or our shareholders and ourselves. So that's the plan.
If we've got investors listening right now, what's the deal for them? They invest X amount for 7 years, and what's the return? How much are you looking for?
We're looking for $1 million. When I get £1 million
total?
worth in total, yeah.
Yeah,
in total.
okay.
Because you're a shareholder, it wouldn't be a fixed return. It would be, we're looking at kind of deals, wouldn't be looking at anything that gives below a 10% return.
Okay.
But obviously that's on the first asset that we purchase. As we purchase more assets within the company, that'll continue to increase over the 7 years. So you will get a return on each of the assets that we purchase within the company.
Right. And my research shows that you've already got, over £300,000 worth of investment on your own?
Yeah, 300,000, yeah, 320,000.
That's great. That's fantastic. So if there's any investors listening, get in touch with Kath. Make a deal, get investing, and you have a great return if it's a minimum of 10%. That's more than the banks are doing right now.
Oh, definitely.
What's the minimum you're looking for people to invest?
20,000.
Right, minimum of 20,000.
Yeah.
Okay.
We've got a Facebook page, Property One Partners. So if anybody's interested, they can go over to our Facebook page and message us on there.
Has being in Steve Green's inner circle helped you?
Yeah, definitely. I've just joined the mastermind as well. We've got our first meet next week, but even just from being in the group, I'm just learning so much. I've actually put an offer forward for a property, which I learned from one of my fellow mastermind group members, and that's going to be on deferred consideration. So we'd put an offer on a property, but we would exchange contracts, get in, do the work to uplift the value, and then mortgage it at that increased value amount, and then pay the vendor back at that point. Still in talks. I only put the offer forward on Thursday, and obviously we've had the bank holiday weekend, so I'm hoping they get back to me today. But that's something that I think, being in the mastermind and being in that, that inner circle, and things that you maybe learn about, but you get that extra support from like Stephen and everyone else in the mastermind as well, to be able to structure it and make sure you're doing it right.
What's the number one skill you feel people should master that would help them on their property journey? I
mean, I think invest in yourself is massive. I had so many people when I first signed up to do Stephen's training, the 3-day, I had so many people kind of tell me, why are you doing that? You don't need to do that. Why do you need to do training to, to buy a house? It's easy. And I thought, well, I went to university for 3 years to learn to be an occupational therapist. What makes this any different? Why do people think we shouldn't invest in ourselves to learn how to do property? I'm so glad I did, because even if people use the trial and error method, they're not going to get there as quickly either. So I think definitely first thing that I would say is invest in yourself. Do the elite training. You're going to get that return on investment. You 4 times over straight away. And then just take action. And for the people in the group, use the group. Just an amazing group, isn't it? And I know we're not just talking for people within our group. Use your network and build a network as well.
How valuable has the group been to you?
I couldn't have done anything without the group, really. Even I think when you learn it in training, don't you? But when you're going to structure the deals or you're going to take action to do it, it's nice just to have that back in there of people where you can put your idea in the group and you get all that feedback, and there's always somebody who helps, who's got the answer. I even use, the past posts, searching posts. Sometimes I don't even have to put a post in, because I'll search a keyword and somebody has asked the question, and I think that's nice. Like, that's why I always say to people, if you want to know the answer, somebody else probably will as well. So ask it in the group, and you're not only helping yourself, but you're helping everybody else as well. So
what's next for you?
I've got my 5-year plan. When you ask that question, I'm just like, oh, how do you put it out there? It's hard to. right, let's do that again.
You've got a 5-year plan, but
no, it's not to hand. There's so much
it's
on
not.
there.
It's not to hand.
Yeah.
I'm going to leave this in.
No, I'll start again. So my 5-year plan is, my main aim is, my husband works offshore. He's worked offshore for 10 years. I said it in the competition. My aim is for him not to have to work away anymore. My son's 11. He's missed half of his life. My daughter, the same. Birthdays, Christmases. So my main aim is to have the income that he no longer has to work away. And it always has been. Obviously, I've got the 3 companies, so building them companies up. I've already talked about what I'm doing with Stephen. I've got my HMO with Eduardo, and our aim is to do 2 HMOs a year in there, and then with my own company as well, to build that. And just looking at single lets in that company at the moment, I think having the 3, the single let was a lot easier to do. So having focused on the HMO and then the company with Stephen, I can do the single lets alongside. But yeah, the main aim is to be able to work with my husband on the companies and not have him working away from home. He's an electrician, so he was an electrician. He's an office job now offshore, but he's helping out on all the refurbs, doing all the electrical work when he can, when he's home. And he really enjoys it. So to have him home and working together on the business, that's the main aim, really.
I admire that in you for wanting to help him leave his job, earn enough money to him leave his job and then be with the family and work on it together as a common goal. That's perfect.
That's what it's all about, isn't it? It's more about time than money. Money's just the way to get that more time and more flexibility. Myself, since I left work, so I left work in July, I had to work a bit of notice, and I've just had the absolute pleasure of being able to take my son to school every day. He's going into secondary school in September, and I know he won't want me to walk to school with him anymore. So his final year at school has given me the chance where I pick him up every day, I take him every day. I work around when the kids are at school. We've just had 2 weeks off, and I've been able to have holidays, days away and things that I couldn't always get when I was in the hospital. Even if I had holidays to take, because you were only allowed so many people off at one time, you just didn't always get the opportunity to be able to take it when the children were off school. So I'd end up with holidays left to take at the end of the year and using them when I didn't really want them, because I wasn't able to have them when the kids were off because everybody else had already booked them in. I always got, some time off in the summer, and it was fair, but I didn't have the flexibility that I have now. And that's what it's about. And that's what my aim is. Time as a family together. And like I said, to get my husband home and work with the family, yeah.
Just me again. This podcast is reaching a lot of people within the industry, and we're now looking for sponsorship. So if you think your product or service would fit, then please get in touch. Back to the show.
And I think it's fantastic that you want to do that together. I speak to a lot of people, and because this industry is kind of dominated by men, really. And by the way, congratulations on being the first female on the podcast. So well done.
Hi.
You're the one again. You've won. So talking to a lot of people, the guys are on it. They've done the courses. They've done them really into the mindset. They really want to they've set their goals. They really want to get there. They're taking action. They're doing everything. And time again, you hear that the partner is not with them. They're not aligned, and they're not on the same path or the same journey. And it can cause a bit of confrontation every now and again. And I don't know how people are managing that, but it sounds like you two are on the same path. And I think that's fantastic. I love hearing success stories like that. So kudos to you.
Me and Andrew are very aligned. He obviously, this was something, it was always me. I had the interest in property. I wanted, but he's always pushed me. and we've kind of pushed each other throughout our life to do, fulfill and kind of push ourselves to do what we want to do, really. And I think he did have doubts at first. When I come home from the 3-day and said I wanted to pull all the money out of the house, he was like, what? And kind of worked. Because that was our goal. We didn't have that long left on the mortgage. And, the goal was always to pay the mortgage off. He hadn't done the course, and I came home and said, right, I want to pull this money out of the house and then use it to, buy the properties and stuff. And he was just kind of a little bit took back by it at first. He was like, wasn't the goal to pay the house off? Isn't the buying the properties just to kind of get the mortgage paid off? And I was like, not anymore. But as soon as I started talking to him about it, he's quite open. And as soon as I explained to him what training I'd done and the benefits of it, he came around straight away to my way, like the way of thinking.
Brilliant.
I would like him to do the 3-day. Just
I was going to ask that. Do you reckon he should?
Yeah, I think although he is very supportive, I think it would benefit him still just to kind of have that knowledge, really. Even though it's kind of my company, like at the minute, he's not as involved. He's doing some of like kind of the refurb work and stuff for me. And that works well at the moment, actually, because he's doing that side of it while I look for the properties.
Yep.
And, he is supportive. But I just think the training's so good anyway. He would get a lot from it. So I think we will look at that.
So what advice would you have for people that their partners haven't done it and they're struggling a little bit?
I think when you've done the training, when I did the training, the more I spoke to Andrew about it, got him involved and spent time explaining it to him rather than just saying, this is what we're doing, kind of going through and explaining and talking to him. I think that really helped because them doubts that he had, I had an answer for it. The questions that he asked, went through and explained the training and why I'm doing something rather than just doing it. So I think just talk to them, explain, and then if you can get them to do the course, then that'd be really helpful as well.
Mm-hmm. Good stuff. And for people sitting on the fence?
Oh, don't sit on the fence.
It hurts your bum.
It does. And I had so much self-doubt at first. I think being a female as well, and kind of thought it is quite male-dominated, like profession and environment, things like that. So I had like lots of self-doubt and I sat on the fence for far too long. And then it's that first step's always the hardest. I think once you take that first step, you're running. Just, take that first step and do what you need to do. And it's never too late as well. I hear people say to me, oh, well, I'm too old now, or it's too late now, and it is never too late. So just, take that step, do what you want to do the things that you love and to have more time with your family or whatever it is that you want to have more time to do.
Didn't Steve have a guy on the 3-day course that was 83?
Yeah, he did.
Like that?
Yeah, I was there. I went to met him. I went to 83. I think it was 83. Yeah, I went to help out one day, and I met him, and I thought that's inspirational. For somebody at 83-year-old to think I'm going to take the step into property now. I mean, if that doesn't inspire you to do it, I don't know what will.
It's amazing, isn't it? He just wanted to change his life, so he just jumped on board and started doing it. Bless him. It's fantastic. Mm-hmm. There's nothing wrong with that at all.
No, I think it's brilliant. Yeah, I love that.
As we draw to a close, I ask this question to all my guests. What's the biggest life lesson you've learned?
So I think for me, is everything that I've overcome through the competition. So taking action is one that, like I said, I sat on the fence thinking about it and self-doubting myself for too long. So don't do that. If you've got a chance to be happy in this life, take it, because you might not get the chance again. So about following your dreams to be happy, spending your time doing your things that are important. So for me, like what I've got is the more time with the family. That's the most important thing to me. So that's like my life lesson is don't spend too much time doing things that you hate or in a job that you don't like, and make a change and take action and do it. And the other thing is, don't worry about what other people think. Everyone's always going to have an opinion on you and on your life. And if you let that affect you, then you'll never move forward and you'll stop you doing things that you really want to do. So I think they're like the two kind of life lessons is do what you love, do what's going to make you happy, and don't let other people's opinions affect you.
Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. It's a limiting belief, isn't it?
Definitely, yeah.
And I must admit, I've had those in the past, but getting over that. And I know I've recognised it and I'm addressing it. And I've got other limiting beliefs that I'm addressing too.
Yeah, if you tell yourself you can't do something, you'll never do it. That's what my father-in-law used to say, actually.
Yeah. Whether you say you can or you can't, you're right.
Yeah, exactly.
Is there anything else you want to add? Little golden nuggets to the secrets of your success so far?
Just the key things from like the discipline model for me, persistence is massive. Never give up. You don't know how far away you are from your goal, so keep going, keep working hard, learn from your mistakes. I'm learning things every day, just doing this HMO that I'm doing now. Just every day is a learn, really. And if things don't go right the first time, we're adapting and learning from it. So nothing's a mistake. It's a learn. So keep going, persistence, and invite challenges and learn from them and keep moving forward.
Kath Lock, thank you so much for coming on. I have thoroughly enjoyed it. Really have.
I have.
It's been a pleasure.
I have. It's been lovely. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Tell me it's the best one you've ever done.
It's the best one I've ever done. It is. I've laughed the most.
Right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.